led by Councilmember Eileen McDonnell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome to the 2045th regular meeting of Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, August 17th, 2026. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember McDonnell.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
Councilmember Persicone.
Here.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Here.
Vice President Brockway.
Here.
President Reed.
Here, and we have 6 members present. I will now entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of the City Council held on July 13th, 2026.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Tashnik, support by McDonnell. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonnell.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye, and the minutes are approved, 6-0. We will now move on to audience communication. We have set aside 30 minutes for audience communication for any items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak, please make your way down. And it's 7:02, so we will go until 7:32 before we jump into other agenda items. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Dave St. Clair. I live on Fairfield in Livonia, Michigan. My house backs up to Rotary Park. The reason I'm here this evening is to address the deer population in our city. And I've been here in the past, and we've discussed the deer situation, and a big pushback from residents that I've heard is the deer were here before we were here. And I'd like to speak with facts that I've looked up specifically from the DNR. So in around 1960, the deer population in Michigan was approximately 700,000 deer. In Wayne County, the deer population was 0. So the fact of the matter is the deer were not here before we were here. Now in the state of Michigan, there's approximately 2 million deer, okay? So my problem is that in the 50s and 60s, when Livonia was being built up, there were no deer, okay? I mean, that's at least the information that I've been able to attain. Also, we have 2 major expressways that run through our city, 96 and 275, and I'm sure we've all seen dead deer along the road. So Michigan ranks tops in the country with vehicular accidents involving deer. In 2023, this was the most recent information I could find, there were 58,000 deer car or vehicle accidents, 1,700 injuries, and 19 people died from these accidents. The reason I'm here is, and also I've lived in my house for 16 years now. When we first moved in, we saw deer rarely, occasionally. Now, in my neighborhood on my street with my neighbors, there is a herd of deer every day, all day long, walking through our yards, eating anything and everything they can eat. Our flowers are, you get it, okay? I don't need to go through everything they're eating. I know in Ann Arbor recently and in Farmington Hills, they've culled the deer with some success. The deer that they've culled, they've donated that harvest to food banks. So it's a win for the residents, and it's a win for folks that have food insecurities. So what I'm asking is what Livonia plans on doing about the deer population in our city. Something needs to be done. The deer, quite frankly, are out of control. So that's what I'm looking for is some type of resolution or something moving forward to cull the deer population. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Barbara Glover. I live in Livonia. I actually grew up in Livonia, moved back some years ago. The deer might not have been here in the 1960s, but something tells me there were deer prior to that time living all over the state of Michigan, including Wayne County. We need to learn to live with deer. I'm not completely against a deer call, but it would be nice if you let me speak. Thank you. And I'm not completely against a deer call, but I think we have to be reasonable about it too. A lot of people like me and my neighbors enjoy the deer. Yes, they come into my yard. You can buy things to spray on your plants so that they don't eat them. I've managed to keep my plants alive. I can understand that they can be a problem on the roads, but I also think that we have to learn to live with them and, maybe call them a little bit, but the way these people talk, they want to eliminate them completely. And most of the time when you do a deer call, they do come back. You have to take into account that a lot of neighbors and people in the city do like the deer. I'm not the only person that does not really want a massive deer call in the country, in the state, or even here. So, the deer are going to come back. Even if we killed every single one of the deer off, they would come back. We are taking away their habitats in building neighborhoods out further and further into the countryside. So where are they going to go? It's a suburb. We like seeing nature here, and they're part of nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, did you want to speak back there, ma'am? Ma'am? You want to speak?
Oh, I was just gonna, I've had my name's Kim Snyder. I've had a lot of people coming up to me about the smart, millage, and I wanted to clarify that, yes, there is only 2 fixed routes going into Livonia if the millage passes, and I hope you can hear me down there. But they do have curb-to-curb wheelchair routes, and they do come to your house, and they have other ways of transporting people with different abilities or seniors. So I just want to clarify that, because not a lot of people have got that in their minds. They're thinking it's just 2 routes. And I'm under three minutes. Yay.
Thank you. We'll go over here now. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Frank McDermott, Rayburn Street, city of Livonia, third world city of Livonia. We live in America. We do not live in a communist country or some third world country run by a dictator. In America, the punishment is supposed to fit the crime. Unfortunately, that is not the case in Livonia. My talk to the council tonight is a brief review and repeat of what I said at the last council meeting, July the 13th. Steve King was charged with breaking and entering and trespassing at the Senior Wellness Center and the Recreation Center. What did Mr. King do? He crossed over from the Senior Wellness Center to the Recreation Center. There was not a no trespassing sign. There was no barrier, fence, or gate. Mr. King walked into the Recreation Center, as did many other people, to look at the construction. Mr. King was charged with breaking and entering and trespassing. No one else was charged. There was no violence, no threats of violence, no property damage, no sexual harassment. In the 16th District Court, with the Honorable Jim Jolly presiding, the crime of breaking and entering, Mr. King pleaded no contest. The crime of breaking and entering, the charge was dropped. For trespassing, he received a $50 fine. Now, trespassing is a very minor crime in the first place, but that is a very low fine. City of Livonia, Recreation Commission, Ted Davis, Department Head, crime of breaking and entering and trespassing. The punishment was banned for life from the Senior Wellness Center and the Recreation Department. Slight difference in the punishment. With the Recreation Commission, why was there such a harsh punishment? I can only speculate. There's no secret there was bad blood between Mr. Davis and Mr. King. Mr. King did not like Mr. Davis's job performance, and Mr. Davis did not like the criticism. Mr. King also was one of the leaders of the Vote No group that helped defeat Mayor Brosnan's $145 million bond proposal, and has been a loud critic of her administration. Some people say that perhaps the ban was an effort to shut up Mr. King. Obviously, it hasn't been successful. He's still here speaking truth to power. So the punishment appears to be a petty political vindictiveness on steroids. Remember 16th District Court, the fine was $50. Recreation Commission penalty is banned for life. Please end the ban for Mr. King at the Senior Wellness Center and the Recreation Center. Hey,
That
I
is
was
time.
close.
Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
The aforementioned Steve King, $600,000. That's the size of the community engagement grant Livonia carved out of its COVID relief allocation, money that arrived because a global pandemic gutted local budgets, threatened public health, and left small businesses and working families struggling to stay afloat. Money Congress sent to Livonia for exactly that reason. A recent FOIA request shows where at least part of it went. A banquet, not a vaccination drive, not rent relief, not a small business grant program, a catered event for a handpicked group of citizens who completed a police academy program. A guest list somebody in City Hall decided on for an evening somebody in City Hall decided the taxpayers would pay for. Call it what it is. This is a public relations stunt dressed up in the language of community engagement and paid for with money that was supposed to help the city recover from a public health emergency. The federal government did not send Livonia COVID money so the city could throw a party. COVID relief funds under the American Rescue Plan Act came with defined eligible uses, replacing revenue lost to the pandemic, funding public health response, addressing the economic harm done to households and small businesses, supporting essential workers, and upgrading water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. That's the list. That's what Congress authorized. A banquet for a curated group of citizens who happen to have gone through a police academy program does not appear anywhere on it. If the city wants to argue this counted as community engagement under the COVID recovery umbrella, it owes residents a straight answer to a simple question: engagement with whom and to what public health or economic end? A banquet for people already selected to attend is not outreach. It's a reward handed out on the taxpayer dime to a list City Hall controlled. Every dollar spent on a self-congratulatory dinner is a dollar that didn't go towards services this money was meant to fund. The City Council should require a full public accounting of how the entire $600,000 grant was spent, not just the banquet. Livonia's Recovery Plan Performance Report, the document every ARPA recipient is required to file, should be checked line by line against what was actually paid for. If the eligible use category claimed for this grant doesn't match what the money actually bought, that's not a gray area. That's a misuse of federal relief funds. Is this how we're paying for ice cream? You're not allowed to use that money for food or drink. So I'm asking you, unless you get express permission, and there has to be a document, there has to be a paper trail, I'm asking council, please follow the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Well, thank you, Christopher Martin. I'm a resident of the great state of Michigan. We have an election going on, and just want to talk a little bit about that. This is a sample ballot, and our city clerk was nice enough to give me a copy of this. And just to explain, is that there's Republican and Democrat. If you jump around from side to side, okay, it doesn't completely spoil your ballot and make it invalid. It makes that portion invalid. But in speaking with Lori earlier, is that the millage, all your millages will still be counted as a vote. If you do something screwy over here, okay, jumping around, that it will not affect this here. That's the way it was explained to me.
And also, some people had dropped out of the race. You can do what's called spoiling your ballot, come back in, fill out a different one. I will speak at a later time on the deer population. But really, when Paul Bernier sat over there and was lead chair, let's call it, in law department, he changed it, but we actually had hunting in Livonia. It was in an RUF area, bow hunting. You had to get permission from everyone within 300 feet of you, okay? But a lot of these deer that are there, okay, we just have too many of them. And it's nice, you know, to see them and whatever. Except when you see them on the side of the road. And I'll bring in some pictures of them, bloated, sat out there for a week. Other animals come at night, eat a portion of them. I'll show those pictures too. It's not a pretty sight. And that will be right out in front of somebody's house. It was mentioned a while back, I'll have to find out where it came from, that employees are not supposed to trespass on your property if they wanted to haul a deer out of your backyard and put it out in front for that week, okay, till the garbage guys came by and picked it up, okay? There has to be a better answer than that, because I know inspectors do it all the time. They trespass on people's property all the time, okay? And so that's just a flat-out lie, okay, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, we do have to do something about the deer population. There's actually more deer in the country now than when the Pilgrims landed. So that's about it. I will show those pictures at a later date and talk about the deer in detail.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
I'm Sonia Tacoma. I live in Livonia. I back up with Rotary Park. I'll be honest with you, I love deer. I've been a resident for 40 plus years. Deer population is the worst right now. I like living with them. We're not trying to eliminate them, but we need to control them. Right now, they are coming so close to the house. I have a granddaughter I worry about. We've seen a herd of 17 deer at one time running through the yard within 5 minutes. That's not normal. We're not living on a farm. There needs to be some kind of control. I have no plants left. All of my garden is pretty much chewed up and gone. And they're defecating all over my yard now, closer to the house where my kids play. That's not acceptable. We need to control them. So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Greg Ralco, Golf Ridge Villa. With respect to the deer, I had one run into the side of my car on 8 Mile 3 years ago, $2,500 worth of damage, and it ran in right behind my driver's window. And so that's a real risk. And I think you also need to control the geese population. I was on the golf course at Fox Creek today, and I don't even want to, you know what I'm going to talk about, okay? And my golf shoes are in the garage, and they will be in the garage until I clean them. A year and a half ago, almost to the day, this city council voted 5-2 against rezoning the corner at 8 and Newburgh for a Sheetz 24/7 restaurant gas operation. Carrie, you voted no because of the environmental concerns, and they still are very, very much the same. Martha, you voted no. Brandon voted no. And Patrick and Eileen, you both campaigned on, we're going to vote no on anything that comes in front of us with respect to that corner, particularly a gas station operation. So if the city council voted no, okay, and the reasons were it was against the ordinances, 2 ordinances, you know the ordinances. Environmental concern was also one of the issues as well. But the reason that I'm here this evening is the city, a few of the city residents had to file 2 appeals with Wayne County Circuit Court. And I was really surprised that this city tried to defend those 2 appeals. vigorously defended those appeals. And it wasn't the city council that instructed the legal department, Carter at the time, to pursue a defense. Because it wouldn't have been, because you voted 5-2 against it. It wouldn't have made sense. So I'd like Eileen, Patrick, Martha, Carrie, and Brandon when he gets here, because he voted no as well, to ask Mr. Goldstein, who is it in the city that told the law department to defend that? The legal department, I know, I live in this world, the legal department just doesn't defend arbitrarily. They're instructed. They're instructed. Was it the mayor's office? And if it was the mayor's office, then why would this body sit back and allow the mayor to essentially veto something that was veto-proof? So when the audience communication's done, I'd like you to ask Mr. Goldstein in front of us who asked him in the law department to defend.
That is time. Thank you, sir. Take your time. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Roseanne Martell. I live on Cranston in Livonia. And last Saturday on July 25th, there was an incident that happened. We have a little rally that we do between Farmington and 5 Mile, at Farmington and 5 Mile, every Saturday at 1. And I don't remember the time, but there was a group of youths on motorized, not motorcycles, but I guess that you could call them that came roaring down the sidewalk. And my concern is that sometimes people bring children or grandchildren, and most of us are standing or sitting on the green areas on either side of the sidewalk. And since they came past, the first thing I knew about it was I saw a sign go flying in front of me. And I didn't know what happened, but I saw the motorcycles all go by, and, well, motorized bicycles. And I wasn't sure what happened. I heard one man say that a man was hit in the face with it. Later, the youths came up, and, we had some discussion, and one of them said somebody threw a sign at him and hit him. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. But I looked up the ordinance for motorized bicycles, and according to the first part of the ordinance I found, it said there's no motorized vehicles allowed on sidewalks. I'm not sure, if the ordinance needs to be looked at, or if more information has to be put out for people. Somebody today just told me that there was someone who was killed as a result of an indication like that. I have mobility issues, and it doesn't take much for me to lose my balance and tip over. All it's going to take is one person hitting their head on the cement, or a child hit. And before that happens, I would like to see some tweaking of the ordinance, or making it known to people, especially so that parents would know, for their youths. There was a couple of the youths came up to us after and apologized. And especially one young man came, and I saw him say he was sorry to people, and he told me he was sorry. And I have his name. He told me his name. I don't know anybody else. And I figured these are all our neighbors, and I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I don't want to see any of the bicyclists get hurt. I don't want to see any of the adults or children get hurt. And I just think it's time to look into that for the city, because I did have a previous experience, not on the sidewalk, but in the street, with about 3 or 4 that were on both sides of my car at one time, and I felt very uncomfortable. That was my trigger.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take your time. Sure, absolutely.
Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name's Laura Shoemaker, Gulf Ridge Villa. I hadn't planned on speaking, but a few people said something that kind of triggered me this evening, and that was, I've listened to I've went online and listened to other council meetings, and I'm glad I did, because it's nice to see some other things that happen within the city and how the mayor is active during city council meetings, and that can be good and that can be bad, and in some cases it hasn't been good. But you know, we come up here to speak because we have some concerns, and I know you can't answer everyone's questions. That really isn't feasible. But there has to be some means of us getting some answers to some things. In the other council meetings that I have listened to or watched on YouTube, there is some interaction. I wouldn't say the only, many of the interactions back and forth with us on this end is when there is, I'll say, a correction to maybe somebody might state something incorrectly, and it's quickly responded to by, that's not correct, or you can find that information, and that's great. Appreciate that. But Greg mentioned something this evening about the appeal with Wayne County. I'm not part of that appeal. And I would, as a citizen that's affected by that corner, like to know who is behind the appeal that is being fought by the city. Through the chair, I don't know if that's something that Mr. Goldstein can answer. If he can't, please tell me. There's a reason that all of you or many of you will not state anything about it, and maybe it's because that person is part of the appeal. I am not part of the appeal, and I want to know. I don't know if I need to do a FOIA request. I can do that. I'll do that tomorrow. But we can't continue to not get answers when we take the time to come up here and sit and talk to all of you. So I'd like to know that answer. And I can see you're smiling. So but somebody's behind it. Is it somebody here? Or is it the mayor? I'd like to know, and I guess we'll have to find out. A statement that I'd like to make that may be maybe popular statement for some, but I hope it's for many, and that is, I do support the millage renewal for our police and fire. And I think it's important, and it's not something that we need to take a risk of not having those services in our city. So please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience communication? All right, we will jump into council announcements. I would like to announce that we have new data for items 12 and 13. The resident that asked about the motorbikes, that is something we have in committee right now. We're exploring an ordinance for e-bikes, e-scooters, golf carts. So that is something we are exploring. We're talking to surrounding communities at what they're doing. So that is something we are working on. And then, council, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're on a wait list for a deer cull, right? Yeah, we're on a wait list with sure. So I'll hand it off to Councilwoman Tashnik to talk about the deer.
I know that, and thank you for that. Councilwoman Budzinski and I have both been active in going to the meetings with the Deer Coalition. We're in a coalition with other cities in the area. Farmington and Southfield were ahead of us in line, so to speak, with the DNR. The DNR has to be very involved with this. We were looking to see what they were doing. We were going to follow along. We were going to kind of be next in the queue. There have been some staffing issues at the DNR that slowed things down a little bit, and I don't know if you have anything you want to add into that, but that's kind of where we're at with this.
Yeah, I think it was, so there are two, the city works with the DNR, but you also need the USDA to actually execute the calls. And they had, cuts to that department as well, which I think is really what led to us being put on a wait list. Maybe the administration has more to add there. I also know that the calls can only be done during certain times of year, which is winter. So, there's only this singular window that we're able to do that. But it seems like maybe the administration.
Do we have any other council announcements before we jump to?
I was going to.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll finish up real quick. Yep.
Unrelated to the deer, but to citizen asking questions or getting information. My next coffee hour is Saturday, August 8th. Martha will be joining me, and we will be talking about the budget for the year ahead. It is at 2 p.m. at the library this time. It's normally in the morning. It's in the afternoon because I have a work event in the morning. So 2 p.m. Saturday, August 8th, we will be talking about the budget come ask questions. We'll talk about anything, any topic folks want, but that's the main topic of the day. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Tashnik, did you want to finish?
Sure, thank you. Aside from the deer, I know that a couple of the questions, the e-bike, it's in the Law and Education Committee right now, so we will be getting to that. Mr. McCullough chairs that committee, so I'm sure once he gets back, we'll be able to kind of hammer that out. So that is there. As far as sheets, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but it was 5-2 not to rezone. It was 4-3 to approve the site plan. So those are two separate things. So just be really careful with that when you said that we denied. We denied the rezone. And frankly, I denied the rezone because C1 and C2, we have gas stations in both, and in my opinion, there was no need to rezone that property. Other than that, on August 3rd, Cops and Cones, if you want your free ice cream at Handy Dip with some of our police officers, the officers are sponsoring free cone day there. So that'll be a fun time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Ms. McDonald?
Alrighty, thank you. I just have a question for the administration, and maybe if we can get an update on this. I know the express car wash is proceeding. They've got the area fenced off, and I was wondering if the administration could give us an update on the secondary exit, if there's been an update on that, and also the status of the light, if there's any progress on that. I think that would be an important thing for us to know. And secondly, I've been received an email from a citizen in reference to trash cans and where they're placed on people's properties. I know in my neighborhood, we have folks that keep them out front, and I'm not a fan. However, I know sometimes people have limitations on where they can put them, but I can't remember. Did we have that in committee? It is in committee to talk about? No.
There's a law with that already.
No, it's not supposed to be in front of the home. It can be on the side of the home or in your
Okay.
garage, but it cannot be in front.
Alrighty. What about placement next on the property line in respect to a neighbor's property? Is there any limitations on that?
Ms. Budzinski?
So it has to be behind your house right now. So if somebody has it in front of their property line, you could, we have the online system where you can put in a file a report for ordinance. I think distance from homes might be, not to get into it, but I live in the state streets. My house, I can touch my neighbor's house out my window, basically. I mean, so some people have greater property lines, so I think.
Right. But I mean, if it's within 2 or 3 feet from a neighbor's home, then, I mean, I guess it was, and there's room for it elsewhere, I guess I would have concern with my neighbor putting it right next to basically my house. So I was wondering if there's anything that we can do to update the ordinance to possibly put some restrictions in reference to, ensuring that everybody has, not having a trash can next to their home. So
do you want to put this in a committee?
I would.
Okay.
So I would like to bring to committee a review of trash can placements next to a neighboring property, and wondered if I could get support for that.
I'll support.
Which committee would you like that in?
Law and Education, please.
Okay. So it was motion by McDonald, support by Persicone. Any other comments from council on this? Did you want to expand any more on it?
No, I think it's fine. I think we can discuss it and see what we can figure out.
Okay, any comments from the audience on this? Okay, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. So that will go into the Law and Education Committee.
Alrighty, awesome.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Persicone, did you have anything?
I just wanted to let the public know that this Saturday, August 1st, is the dedication of the Rotary Park Pavilion 1. And so the public is invited to see the official dedication of the pavilion, and hope to see some of you there.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to reports from the mayor and other city officials. We'll start with Ms. Erica Smith, our Director of Government Affairs.
Thank you, Council President. I was going to discuss some points from the last meeting, but folks have, let me find my paper, my apologies, brought up the deer call. So give me 1 second to find my piece of paper, where that went. Okay, so there's a report from LPD coming to council's way that's in the works. Deputy Chief McDermott was working on that before he retired, so we just have to get that a little bit updated on traffic counts. This decision will probably lie with council because a deer cull will cost more than $20,000 for a 3-year plan. It was determined that a single cull will not take care of the deer population, they'll just repopulate year after year. So we are looking at a consortium with Farmington Hills, Southfield, and then Livonia. Each community would pay a portion of that person's salary from the USDA, and they would work for 3 years in that continual cull. So in the works coming your way, but I wanted to give an update as everything that Councilwoman Potashnik and Budzinski said were true. That was just the update since then. So also Canadian geese can't be killed per the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which is a federal act. They are a protected species. So no killing Canadian geese.
Bummer.
I went to school at U of M Dearborn, and it was it was chaos on campus. So yes. So a new thing that you will see coming from the mayor's office to City Council is correcting the facts and the record on some things that were misspoken or misrepresented in the last City Council meetings. So the last meeting on July 13th. A resident said that they couldn't still access the Housing Commission agenda and minutes. And if you go to the Housing Commission, or if you go to the Livonia.gov webpage, click on Departments, Housing will come up, click on Housing, and on the left side, click on the actual Housing Commission webpage, and then on the right side, it'll pop up with quick links to minutes and agendas. I know there was some confusion on where that came from, but it's been the same, and you can see when the minutes were posted, what date, and down to the minute and second. So, second thing, someone suggested that we charge a fee for non-residents for the Livonia Service Senior Wellness Center. We have been charging non-residents higher fees for programs and activities. Non-resident fees vary between $1 to $5 depending on the activity, and for the differences, you can see those posted on the senior bulletin. Let's see. Third one, regarding the Golden Oaks property, the clear cutting contract with the stump removal was not fulfilled. That was a resident claim. The city deliberately advised deliberately advised the winning bidder not to remove the stumps per our addendum, which I will send over to council. Land grubbing, which is the removal of underground materials, including stumps and roots, will be part of the next phase to prepare for the build out. So as it was explained to me, the machinery works better when it has the larger stumps to remove, and it will be able to get all of the roots and all of the materials underground. So, and then the last thing was a resident had claimed that the City Hall ramp isn't happening. That is false. The permanent ramp work at City Hall has not been canceled. To avoid active construction during an already busy early voting period at City Hall, the project is simply on hold until after the August election. As we all know, timelines can change with construction, and currently residents have the choice of 2 ramps to access City Hall until the permanent ramp work is completed. So that is all I have for council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the topic of voting, Madam Clerk, did you want to give an update on early voting or how that's going?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you. As everyone knows, Election Day is next Tuesday, August 4th. Your polls will open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m. Precincts were consolidated last year. We went from 44 precincts down to 26. You were all mailed a new voter ID card. So if you're not sure of your precinct, if you go to your precinct, check your voter ID card. Our office will be open this Saturday from 8:30 to 4:30 for voter registrations and to issue absentee ballots. In addition, early voting started this past weekend on Saturday, and it runs for 9 consecutive days. It'll end this next Sunday. Voting hours are 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and your early voting site is here at City Hall. So if you've not voted early voting, it operates basically like a precinct. You come in, you fill out an application, your ballot is then printed specifically for your precinct. You are then allowed to vote your ballot and run it through the tabulator as you exit the auditorium. So it's been going very smoothly. We had no idea what to expect, but our first day we had 116 voters on Saturday. Yesterday we had 104 voters. And today was our busiest day so far, so we had 160 voters come through our site. So our total count's at 360 right now. It does end this Sunday, though, at 5:30 p.m. I did want to touch on spoiling a ballot. It was brought up by a resident. If you have already voted your ballot and returned it, you are past the date that you can spoil your ballot. However, if you've not voted your absentee ballot and returned it to us, you have until this Friday at 5 p.m. to do so. And you also have Saturday while we're here and Monday until 4 p.m. We can spoil a ballot if you decided to switch lanes and you shouldn't have, or if you just changed your mind. You have that time period. Absentee ballots are very high. We've issued 26,519, and as of tonight's meeting, we have 11,114 returned. So if you have an absentee ballot, we encourage you to return it as soon as possible, either to the drop box inside City Hall, outside City Hall, or at any one of the other locations. The sooner you get it back to us, the easier it is for our staff of 6 to process them, because we're averaging close to 1,000 ballots a day. So we are drowning in ballots. But we also just want to encourage everyone, you have so many options to vote. We want everyone to get out and vote. And if you have questions, please call the clerk's office. We're your trustworthy, reliable source of information, and we don't want you going to the internet or Facebook to get lost into the confusion. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now I have a whole bunch of stuff to read to you guys that we have received from other city officials. So first, from the Department of Finance, we received communication from the Department of Finance dated July 10th, 2026, forwarding the departmental purchases report from the month ending June 30th, 2026. We have received from the Office of the City Clerk communication received in the Office of the City Clerk dated June 4th, 2026, forwarding the 2026 tax rate request Form L-4029 from the Charter County of Wayne, Michigan, regarding the collection of the district's taxes. We also received on May 28th, 2026, the same thing from the Clarenceville School District. Same thing on June 15th, 2026, from Livonia Public Schools. On June 1st, 2026, we received it from Oakland Schools ISD. On June 10th, we received it from the Plymouth Road Development Authority. On May 20th, 26, we received it from Schoolcraft College. On April 1st, 2026, we received it from the state of Michigan. And on June 10th, 2026, we received it from the Wayne County Regional Educational Service Agency, also known as RESA. And those are all regarding the collection of the district's taxes. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Items 1 through 10 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on July 13th, 2026, and determined to be non-controversial. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Tashnik, support by Budzinski. Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persiconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye, and the consent agenda passes 6-0. Moving on to unfinished business, we'll start with external requests. Item number 11, this is a block party request from Christina Zioli to be held Saturday, August 22nd, 2026, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Summer Street between Riverside Drive and Ashurst Street. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Christina Zioli, 14034 Ashurst Street.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your event?
We're going to do a luau theme, so we're going to have hula dancers and Kona ice and games and a DJ. So just a fun time for our neighborhood.
All right, council, any questions?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Tashnik?
I'd be happy to offer a motion to approve. She had me at luau, so, you know.
Support.
Okay, motion by Tashnik, support by Persiconi. Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. And item number 11 passes 6-0. Enjoy your luau.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 12, this is a roll call, proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended, submitted by Stephen J. Ritma, Hahnemann LLP, requesting to amend Chapter 3.12, Senior Citizens Housing Tax Exemption. The first reading was given by Councilmember Carrie Budzinski on July 13th, 2026.
I'd like to offer a second read and vote to approve.
All right, second reading from Ms. Budzinski. Motion to approve.
Support.
Support by McDonald. Any comments from council on this one? Comments from the audience? Hi. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please.
My name is Steve Ritma. My name is on the agenda with Honigman, and I'm representing Jonathan Rose Companies, who is the developer of the Ziegler Place apartments. Just wanted to appear tonight because in addition to the second reading of the ordinance amendment, we also wanted to request that council also vote on the actual resolution that extends the pilot term for the new project. And the reason for that is we submitted these to be handled in tandem, kind of as a companion approvals, meaning we had to make one change to the ordinance and then the second step, passing the new resolution for Ziegler Place. So on the 15th of June, when we were here visiting the study session, both the ordinance amendment and the resolution were considered, and they were submitted in the board packet. They were also both in the board packet when the first reading of the ordinance amendment was done on July 13th. But at that meeting, the resolution wasn't voted on specifically. The ordinance amendment was voted on specifically, but not the resolution. So tonight, along with your second vote on the ordinance amendment, we're also asking for a vote on that resolution. It's just, I think, maybe an oversight that it wasn't specifically voted on at the July 13th meeting. So that's what I'm here to ask for tonight. So we'd very much appreciate it. We are planning to close on the financing of the project in mid-August. So time is a bit of the essence for us. So we would very much appreciate council considering a vote on that resolution as well tonight.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize that we missed that. So let's go ahead and vote on the motion we have on the table if we don't have any other audience communication. And then we can move on to that. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
The vote, just for clarity, is on the second read given for the ordinance.
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I have a question in reference to that. So that was presented to us at the last meeting, or no? What this gentleman is asking for?
Mr. Termina?
Yes, when this original request came before you in June, it was two parts. It was the ordinance amendment, which was really a prerequisite to the second part, which was the extension of the payment in lieu of taxes for Ziegler Place. You acted on you're about to act on the ordinance amendment. The second part being the extension of the pilot would be a separate resolution. We failed to put that in the attorney notes. It was something that back in June you provided, or council provided, in approving for both parts. So our request this evening is to include the pilot extension in the request, and we have the petitioner's resolution prepared, and I've discussed this with Mr. Goldstein, and we're prepared to take this language and put it in the form of a council resolution should you approve it. And it is something that we did consider and discuss at the June meeting. It was presented to you back in June.
I know. I'm just surprised, that's all.
Surprised that it wasn't in the
That it wasn't
attorney
here,
notes?
right,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
that it
No, that was our
wasn't
mistake for not
included,
having it.
so, it's.
Madam Chair, if I may, so just to clarify, the pilot resolution on these white handouts that we received is the pilot resolution that we will be addressing in the second round.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other comments about the first motion we're going to vote on? Okay. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. And item number 12 passes 6-0. Council direction on this one?
I,
Ms. Budzinski?
just a question, because this was a first and second read. Is this also a first and second read?
No.
Okay. I'd like to offer an approving motion for a pilot resolution for Ziegler Place Apartments for the audience to know this is for renovations to an existing senior housing development that's there. A pilot is a payment in lieu of taxes, so I'm not great on professionally explaining this, but essentially it means they kind of get a tax break to operate. They've already had this. This is just an extension as they reinvest in the property, which I think is a good value for the tenants and for the surrounding community to have something that's of high quality. So, thank you.
Okay. You made the motion?
I did. Sorry, nobody.
Need support.
Do we have any
For support.
Okay, motion by Budzinski, support by Persicone. Council, any comments? You have some, go ahead. I can tell you're ready to say something.
Okay, I think this project is wonderful. I know that. I'm just surprised that, unless I missed an email today.
This was, so we spoke about this in June,
Right.
and then we only had to do the first read on.
Last week, and we failed to do that, right?
No, we did
no.
the first reading at the last meeting, but we can't vote on this one until the second reading and vote is
okay.
done. So that's why it wasn't on the last agenda to continue on with the item
Okay.
we just voted on. But remember, we did discuss it.
Okay.
You know,
I remember
I feel
the
comfortable voting on it.
Okay,
You know,
that's fine.
okay.
Okay,
Any other
thank you.
comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. And the pilot resolution for Ziegler Place Apartments passes 6-0. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to the Department of Civil Service, item number 13. This is a request to authorize expenditure to sole source provider to approve the quote from NeoGov for talent acquisition from budgeted funds. Good evening, Ms. Leibel.
Good evening, Council. I'm Janine Leibel on behalf of Civil Service, and I am here to ask you to please approve my purchase or my renewal of my contract with NeoGov. We initially sought a quote as a sole source, and then because we anticipated this renewal, we budgeted for it appropriately last year when we put together this year's budget. The total cost in the renewal is $21,634, and that does include a 10% discount on NeoGov, their renewal discount, as well as almost 16% discount on the government jobs website subscription.
Thank you. Council?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Tashnik?
motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Tashnik, support by Persicone. Any comments from council? Ms. McDonald?
Thank you, Janine, for all your hard work on this. I appreciate you taking the extra step and doing the extra work for sole source and reviewing that. But I did a Google search today and found out that sole source isn't necessarily a good deal. It could be more expensive, as you knew well. So thank you. Sourcewell.
I'm sorry, my original quote was less than the Sourcewell quote in this case.
Right. No, I understand that.
Oh.
I'm saying that I appreciate you doing that work and doing the extra step to
Thank
find
you.
that out.
I would actually like to thank you, if you don't mind me through
Yeah,
the chair,
let's
if you don't
thank
mind me
everyone.
taking a minute to, again, thank you all for being such good stewards of our taxpayers' money and holding not just me, but anyone else accountable to do the right thing when we're spending it. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persicone?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. Item number 13 passes 6-0. Thank you for coming out, Ms. Leibel. Moving on to Parks and Rec, item number 14, award of bid for locker room regrouting project at the Jack E. Kirksey Recreation Center from budgeted funds. Good evening.
Thank you, President Reed. I'm Michelle Coppin, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation, here to ask for the approval of the bid to Keystone Strategic Partners for the regrouting of the men's and women's locker room for a total of $34,500.
Thank you. Council? Ms. Budzinski?
I'll offer a motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, motion by Budzinski, support by Brockway. Any comments from council? Comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persiconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. And item number 14 passes 6-0. Thank you for coming out. Moving on to planning, item number 15, this is a waiver petition 2026-05-02-13 submitted by Lux Events LLC requesting waiver use approval to operate a banquet or an event facility with occupancy of over 50 people at 27600 Schoolcraft Road, located on the north side of Schoolcraft Road between Inkster Road and Cardwell Street in the southeast quarter of Section 24. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome back.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Name and address, please.
My name is Tiffany Munson in 27600 Schoolcraft Road.
Thank you. Did you want to add anything from since last time, or?
Yes, I do want to add a couple things. So one, I know that we talked about the noise ordinance and how we would control that. I wanted to add in the fact that, so in our guest of honors contract, the way that we will handle that is, one, we will stop any DJ music will be a hard stop 15 minutes prior to the 11 p.m. noise ordinance time. Also, as well, after that hard stop, the guest of honor will also have inside of their contract, and they will already be aware that their guests are not allowed to loiter in the parking lot. And any parties 50 guests or above, we will have parking lot security as well, monitoring.
Thank you.
So I wanted to add that in there. And then another thing that I did not mention is, although this is a new business of mine, I'm already a business owner. So I actually already own and operate for the last few years a successful commercial cleaning company where we do recurring cleaning along with emergency cleanings as well for some major brands that a lot of people are already aware of. Multiple locations of CVS's. I have multiple locations of Great Expressions, as well as Potbelly Windows and Ulta Beauties as well. So I did want to add that in there.
Thank you. Council, Ms. Budzinski?
I'd like to offer a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Budzinski, support by Tashnik. Any comments from council?
Just thank you for follow-up information and congratulations on your.
Thank you so much.
Any comments from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McDonald?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Councilmember Persiconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Tashnik?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. And item number 15 passes 6-0. Thank you for coming back out and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep. So we will move on to our second audience communication for anyone that did not speak at the beginning of the meeting. And again, for any items that are not on the agenda, you will have 3 minutes. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Hi, Cindy Fleming, Livonia. I just wanted to say a thank you to the former Parks and Recreation Director, Ted Davis, for listening to me in particular and other residents when the design for the restrooms at Rotary Park were concluded, because they are showing, all of them have adult changing tables and all of them are fully ADA accessible, and I really appreciate that was a new step. In regard to some things that came up tonight, thinking back to the audit report that Councilwoman Tashnik reported, that there was a finding that there was no policy and procedure in place for tracking and spending of federal grants, but it was quickly put in place and now is in place. There was concern about
federal grant money being spent inappropriately. This to me is a red flag, and I would like council to follow up on this, and I would like all of you to take the time to review those guidelines, because federal grants can't be fast and loose. They expire. I believe there's another big federal grant that's about to expire. Sometimes they can be extended, sometimes they can be changed. Most of the time, that is not the case. And I really want you as a council to ensure that you kind of know where those monies are and how we are dealing with, somebody said like a weekly check or a monthly check. I would really like you all to take the time to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Denise Micah, Livonia. I remember last year from the budget findings was when it came to the new senior center development, there was a misappropriation of funds. And the city had to pay that back because they used the funds before they were eligible to be used, I believe. I might have that a little mixed up, but I know the city had to pay back into that. So to me, that sounds like a reoccurring situation. And so I'd appreciate y'all looking into that too. The other week we had terrible weather, and on the news we saw that Wayne County got 70,000 masks, and for people in need that needed them because of the fire and all that. So the air quality was, off the charts here. And I went to the website for the city, and there was no mention of anything available for our city. And so then I called a couple places, and they said, oh, yeah, the library has some. Oh, rec center has some. Oh, the senior center has it, which the senior center is closed on the weekend. And it closes at like 4:30, which I think is kind of ridiculous because a lot of people that are elderly are helping with childcare. So when their kids get off of work and they have time, they can't do anything at night because the place is closed. So I would appreciate it if next time there's something, whether we need a cooling station, because I think the heat wave's coming. I think it's 124 in Kansas City right now, I heard. And that we put alerts on there so we could see for the citizens on the website, this is happening, we've got cooling station, we've got this. It doesn't take that much to add that to the website, and I think the citizens should know. And I don't know how many masks Livonia got, but it was sad that they were not available to people that didn't know about it. Okay, so I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Laura Janica on Munger Street. Just have a few questions about Sheldon Park, and if it's out in the universe, I don't know where it would be, but I'd like to see some of the plans. I'd like to see what kind of plantings are they putting in there, what kind of trees, what kind of, are things going to be ADA? They did a good job at Rotary. I want to make sure that that's happening also at Sheldon, but I don't have any information on that. And tying into that, I'm a little concerned about some of the trees that our city is putting in at the rec center, senior center, all along 5 Mile Road. We're putting in ginkgo trees, and they're very pretty trees, but they're not native. They're Chinese trees, and we're putting in monocultures of trees, and we're not putting in rain gardens or native plants, anything like that. So I'd like to see what kind of plantings they plan on putting into Sheldon Park, and see how that's going. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
John Schaefer over on Brookfield Street here in Livonia. Coming to you again with public safety. I think I brought it up 3 times to City Council about the generators when the power goes out. at the red lights, and where are they? I did see one generator not too long ago at 5 Mile in Farmington. That's the only one that I've seen. I've not seen any others, where they used to be pretty prevalent when the power went out. So I would like to have that reinstated whenever possible, because I do think that when the streetlights go into a four-way stop situation, it is pretty hazardous. The other thing that I want to bring to City Council's attention, and possibly to the city's attention, is the rec center. Our rec center is our current emergency shelter for the city, for our citizens. I do believe that's the area, correct? Head nod maybe? Okay. The problem with that is when the power goes out, the rec center closes. So if that's our emergency center and the power goes out, are we sending people home? I'm on the same grid, 5 Mile, Brookfield, and there's no major emergency backup generator that runs that rec center. So the frequency of power outages in the city of Livonia, that rec center closes frequency, and I don't know how you can claim that it is the emergency shelter when it closes when there's an emergency. Thank you.
I think you're going to get an answer right now. She's right behind you. But thank you, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
I'm not as tall. I would like to answer the question before, if that's okay. Again, I'm Michelle Coppin, Parks and Recreation. The Recreation Center and Senior Center does have a backup generator. There are certain places in the Recreation Center that close, like the pools, but we do have a backup generator, and it goes into effect within 10 seconds.
Thank you. Any other audience communication? Okay, council?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Persicone, support by Tashnik. We will be back at 8:25.